Hey guys, OGL Binding here, bringing you guys my week 9 battle. Yeah, week 9 battle of the APA Academy against Itz and his Sacramento Nidokings. So yeah, if you guys are excited for our, the battle and all that stuff, be sure to subscribe, comment, all that stuff, just so you can catch our battles as they go up in the future. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right in. Don't want to waste any time. If you have not seen our draft analysis, which I definitely recommend you do, I'll probably link it in the description below. Our team consists of the Landers, Therian, Starmie, Scolipede, Florges, Chestnut, Uxie, Steelix, Droidegon, Lycanroc Dusk, Mega Glalie, and Rapidash. While its team consists of Mega Pidgeot, Manaphy, Cobalion, Ribombee, Kartana, Incineroar, Hippowdon, Tyrantrum, Zebstrika, Chansey, and Stoutland. So right off the bat, biggest threats to my team in particular. I am terrified of the Mega Pidgeot. That thing always scares me in prep. Just being able to hit 100% accurate hurricanes and being that fast is honestly just absolutely terrifying. And then, just being able to run Heat Wave for the Steel types and stuff like that anyways, makes it a huge threat in my opinion. Manaphy also is very, very scary, especially in Free Z Crystal League, so it can run, any kind of Z it wants, as well as all of his other mods. Yeah, because in my opinion, Manaphy is a lot easier to deal with when you know that it cannot be Z. If it is Z, you do have that, have to have that idea of Z Rain Dance in your back of your mind or something like that. And then next biggest threat to me, in my opinion, is definitely the Kartana. We do have some checks to it and things like that, but once some of our mods get weakened and stuff, it can honestly actually be a huge threat versus us. So it's something we have to, watch out for, especially if it's like Swords Dance or something. I think if it's Scarf, it's a lot easier to play around, so I definitely don't think Scarf comes. But Swords Dance can be terrifying if you let it set up and stuff like that. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into our first member right here, which is our Mega Glalie. Mega Glalie hits his team incredibly hard. Ice plus Ground hits everything neutrally or super effectively, which is great. Nothing wants to take a frustration. Ice Shard is great for those, faster mons that we can potentially pick off with, the Ice Shard if they get out of hand, like a Dragon Dancing or Scarf Tyrantrum, Mega Pidgeot. A pretty weakened Kartana, or if he's like Sash focused SC, he can definitely pick it off with a nice shard if it's down that low. And then substitute, because we force a lot of switches, and if we can force switches and he wants to pivot in on, say he wants to pivot in his Cobalion, and us expecting the ice move and then forcing us out, if we can get a sub up, we can potentially get an Earthquake off, pop that thing's potential Shukaberry, or just get a huge chunk of damage off with an Earthquake, because 120 attack is nothing to scoff at for sure. So that is going to be our Mega Glalie right here. Next member on the team, we have a Scolipede rocking out with the Groundium Z and Speed Boost ability, Protect, Baton Pass, Earthquake, and Poison Jab, 12 HP, 252 attack, 4 defense, 4 speed F, and 236 speed with a jolly nature. So this Speed Pass, potentially into something like Glalie or a next member on the team, which, we'll get to in a second, is absolutely amazing. Their speed tiers aren't the best versus some of his offense, like the Cobalion and the Mega Pidgeot and stuff like that. That can come in and potentially revenge us, or such as like the Sableye, not the Sableye, the Sneasel. I don't know why I got those mixed up, but yeah, it gives us a good option to pass into those, put on a lot of offensive pressure. That's the one thing I didn't like about this matchup was our speed tiers in here. He has a lot of stuff that just outspeeds and threatens everything, so Speed Bass can definitely help with that. We're going to Protect to get that speed boost off. It also gives us great speed control versus his team. If he has like a Z Rain Dance, we can weaken him in a range of Poison Jab, that can potentially save us. So I thought that was pretty important to have that Protect, just in case. It also gives us a way to always outspeed the Mega Pidgeot after one Protect and potentially pick that thing off. Again, it is in range of Poison Jab. We are lacking a lot of immediate power with this set because we aren't running Swords Dance, no Life Orb, anything like that. The Groundium Z definitely does help with things like the Cobalion and things like the Kartana if we really need to, and it's below like 50-ish%. I believe we can knock it down. Tyrantrum, it gives us pretty much a guaranteed OHKO on that. The Incineroar, which is a good pivot into that. Just the Earthquake in general, gives us a nice move to spam against things that don't really care about Poison Jab. Poison Jab hits pretty much everything else on his team. The only thing on his team that really doesn't care about this Scolipede is going to be the Hippowdon, which I don't really expect to come, honestly. We pressure it pretty hard with things like our Glalie, our Starmie, you know, mons like that. I feel like we kind of just pressure it to where it doesn't really want to come. It doesn't really check anything on this team that other mons on this team couldn't do. And then I believe speed-wise, we are creeping the Cobalion, or the Cobalion or Kartana. I forget which one's 1 point faster. One of them's 1 point faster, or they might be the same. I could be completely wrong. But yeah, that's going to be our Scolipede this week. Next up, we have our Wincon and our Landers Therian, rocking out with the Yachi Berry, Intimidate, Swords Dance, Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Stealth Rock. 68 HP, 236 attack, 4 defense, 4 speed def, and 196 speed with an adamant nature. So his team has nothing for Edgequake at +2. Look at his team, we absolutely just murder everything. Pidgeot, Stone Edge, Earthquake. Yeah, it's everything drops basically. Besides the Hippowdon, but even then, if we can potentially set up on that thing, we always 2-hit KO with a +2 Earthquake, and you know, if he's chipped or anything like that, that's pretty much GG. And this is going to be the main recipient of our likely speed pass from Landers right here. I mean, from Scolipede. If we can get up to +2 speed and then get off a Swords Dance, that'd be absolutely amazing. Which is why we have the Yachi Berry. It pretty much guarantees that we get a Swords Dance off against pretty much everything other than that's not named like, you know, offensive Manaphy with Surf or something like that. We pretty much always get a Swords Dance off on something. So if we can pass +2 speed into that, we honestly just demolish the rest of his team. 68 HP and 4 speed def allows us to take 2 HP Ices from a non-invested Cobalion, and this is with our Yachi Berry still, of course. We don't take 2 from full without the Yachi Berry, but a Yachi Berry popping, you know, we can do the Yachi, Hidden Power Ice, we can do the Yachi Berry, you know, plus another Hidden Power Ice. Won't ever knock us out before Rocks, and it has a small chance to after, but not like huge. It's still definitely in our favor. Stealth Rock, just in case we needed Rocks. I didn't really see the need for another move on this set, so that is going to be our Landers Therian. It is a great win con in this game. I believe speed creep wise, I believe we're creeping. Man, I probably should have written this one down. I believe it's Tyrantrum, a Jolly Tyrantrum, but I could be wrong. But I believe, just, you know, glancing at the teams right now, it looks like that's what it is. So yeah, that is going to be our Landers Therian. Next up, we have our Chestnut rocking out with the Cobra Berry, Bulletproof Ability, Spike, Synthesis, Drain Punch, Seed Bomb, 252 HP. 208 defense, 36 speed def, and 12 speed with a impish nature. This is going to be a Kartana check. Like I said, Kartana is very scary versus us, but we can check it very well with this Chestnut. Great physical wall this game. We have Koba for the potential Aerial Ace on part, which I do think he will run over Psycho Cut. I understand that he can just run Psycho Cut instead and still potentially, you know, do a lot of damage to us with that. But Koba just seems, Aerial Ace just seems more likely just because it can give him that Oko if we aren't running Koba and he gets boosted. So I definitely think Aerial Ace is the more likely of the two. This defense investment, however, I did, you know, still take into account Psycho Cut because we can live a +2 Psycho Cut after Rocks with this investment. And if he's weakened, we can, you know, pick him off with a Drain Punch. This also serves as a Tyrantrum check, which is great. We have 12 in speed, just to creep any creeps that he wants to go to with the slower mons, and 36 speed def was all that was left over, so just do it in there. So that's going to be Chestnut, very, very important member this week, just so that we do not lose to that Tyrantrum right off the bat, or that Kartana right off the bat, and it also serves as a pretty good Cobalion check as well. So yeah, I think it's going to be Chestnut. And then next up we have our Starmie right here, rocking out with the Leftovers and Natural Cure ability, Recover, Rapid Spin, Ice Beam, and Psyshock. 208 HP, 84 special attack, 12 speed def, and 204 speed with a timid nature. The speed, I believe, is for Cobalion or Kartana. I forget which one again, which is faster and all that stuff, but don't want to check at the moment. It serves as a great bulky pivot this game because it's a nice check to Cobalion, Manaphy, Pidgeot, Tyrantrum. Nothing can really knock us out in one hit is basically what I want to say, and you can get a fat chunk off on pretty much everything with the you know, with either Psyshock or Ice Beam. We can do a pretty decent amount of damage, which is great. And we also very much needed spin this week. Starmie, this isn't necessarily amazing in this matchup, but I felt like it wasn't necessarily able to just have it. Because if you end up bringing webs, that makes our game plan a little bit harder if we aren't able to get a speed pass off with our Scolipede. It makes our Glalie much less useful in my opinion. So I wanted to have that option. I just wanted to have another, fast bulky pivot in the back. Just to eat a hit, go with a Side Shock or an Ice Beam. But yeah, that's going to be Starmie. Pretty self-explanatory set this week. And then lastly, we have our Floridian rocking out with the Berry Flower availability. Moonblast, Toxic Synthesis, Hidden Power Fire, 252 HP, 156 defense, and 100 Speed F with a bold nature. So this is going to be our Mega Pidgeot check whenever 2-hit KO'd by Hurricane. It also serves as a nice lure for Kartana this week as well. If we can catch him going for the Smart Strike, we can, throw off an HP Fire and always knock that thing out, which is great. Toxic is nice just to spread around his team on fatter walls such as the Hippowdon or the Incineroar, just chipping those things down. Chansey in a one-on-one, if we can, Toxic back thing, that would be absolutely amazing. Although it does, get the natural cure and it can switch out. And then Manaphy as well, if it's not like a rest or a hydration set or something like that, we can Toxic that thing before it gets, too out of hand, which can put it in range of other members on our team, which is, obviously super, super nice. So yeah, that is going to be the team. Let's just jump right into the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So looking at the team that it's decided to bring, looks like he went with the Mega Pidgeot, Incineroar, Manaphy, Cobalion, Tyrantrum, and the Kartana. So nothing too unexpected. He did bring the threats such as the Mega Pidgeot, the Kartana, the Manaphy, the things that we're most scared of in all honesty. So right off the bat, myself, I'm going to lead off with my Florges. I figured that it gave me the best lead matchup on the Mega Pidgeot, which was very likely in my opinion, and I didn't want to get put in the cycle of U-turning and stuff like that. If I did lead off with something else, then he obviously was going to switch. And I felt like everything else I had a pretty safe switch into in the back. So I was just going to lead off with the Florges right here, as it just kind of didn't put me in a horrible position right off the bat if he did lead off with the Pidgeot or something like that. So we are going to see right here that he does like to actually lead off with the Pidgeot, which is good for us. It gives us a nice lead matchup right off the bat. As right here, turn 1, I believe I just throw off a I believe I throw off a Moonblast on this turn 1. As you see, he does Mega Evolve right here, turn 1, getting off that Mega. And I believe he goes straight for the Hurricane turn 1. Yep, there we go. So yeah, if we were a more physically defensive set, that actually could have 2-hit KO'd us, but as you see, we are pretty bulky. Oh no, we go for the Tox right here, just in case you wanted to switch out into, something like the Manaphy or the Incineroar or something like that, just to soak up a hit. So right here, he is going to get poisoned, as I am going to just Synthesis up this next turn as he goes for a U-turn, getting right on out of there. Doing just about nothing to us, just getting a nice pivot out, and he goes into his Cobalion right here. As we are able to just Synthesis up, get up to pretty much full, and I could stay in on this thing and get a big chunk off on it, but I want to save the Berry for the Kartana in the back if I at all can. I think that could come up pretty useful, just so we can use our Chestnut a little bit more, sparingly this game. So yeah, I am going to go right out into my Chestnut, as this thing doesn't really threaten me too much, as he does elect to get up his Stealth Rocks right here on this turn. As he actually doesn't really switch into Chestnut well. We hit his entire team pretty much neutrally, as he ends up going for the Toxic right here, which does suck for a Chestnut. It does, lower our longevity a good decent amount, unfortunately. But I am going to go for a Spike, expecting a switch out. But either way, having that Spike up is great to break potential sashes on the Kartana, and just chip his team down as they slowly come in. Things like the Tyrantrum and the Incineroar definitely don't appreciate it. So right here, he's going to go out into his Pidgeot, as I believe I go straight for the Drain Punch, and this is still neutral, so we're just going to do a pretty big chunk on this thing. Get me back up to full, which is great, before the Toxic obviously takes me back down, as we do bring him down to about half after the poison damage on his Pidgeot, which is nice. This thing is getting very, very chipped. It's pretty much in range of a Ice Shard from our Glalie, so I'm not as worried about this thing at this point, as I am going to pull the switch right back out into my floor, just take a little bit of chips from the rock, as he does go for the Hurricane right here. which again isn't that big of a deal because we can live guaranteed 2 even after rocks. I EV'd to make sure we did. And right here we can kind of just spam Synthesis if you wanted to stay in, go for U-turn because he is poisoned, so he's definitely on a timer. And I want half my health and stuff like that, just so I can switch in later in the game on other things, such as the Incineroar maybe, the Manaphy, stuff like that. So he is going to U-turn out, go right into his Kartana as I do get up my Synthesis and get pretty much back up to full. So on this turn right here, this is the scenario in which I was kind of talking about with a Poison Chestnut. Things aren't looking it's not looking as solid as a check to this Kartana. So right here, I'm going to like to stay in and just go for Hidden Power Fire. Knowing can live in Smart Strike, you know, no matter what. As he goes for the Swords Dance right here, and we do go for the Hidden Power Fire, and we knock out this Kartana right here, which is great. Again, it was a huge threat to our team. And, you know, just having that lore as an option so I didn't have to risk not having, you know, you know, dying to that Smart Strike or make a crazy play or anything like that. We can knock it out. As right here, he's going to go into his Cobalion and go straight for the Iron Head, as it does pretty much nothing to our Bewears. We don't really need it for anything else, so I decided to stay in and get that chip off on the Cobalion and see how much we can do. As we see, it's likely a 2-hit KO from here. We do chip that thing down pretty low as he reveals the leftovers when he is in range of another Moonblast potentially. But right here, I am going to switch out. I don't want to take this to take too much damage, as it still is pretty nice in this game just to be an annoying check to things like Tyrantrum, Manaphy, things like that, as he goes for the Toxic right here, which was a bit odd because I figured he could have potentially knocked me out with another Iron Head, but nonetheless not too big of a deal, as I am just going to go into my Chestnut right here, and he's going to throw off another Iron Head, just trying to get some more chip damage off on us, as he ends up getting the crit and the flinch, which is definitely unfortunate because this it wouldn't be as big of a deal if we weren't poisoned, but being that we are, this just helps chip us down even more, and we can't get even that residual back from the Drain Punch. As right here, he goes for another Iron Head, and he gets another crit, which is, again, no bueno, not very good for us. As we do throw off another Drain Punch right here and get off a huge chunk on this thing, and get off a little bit more health back to us, but we're pretty much useless at this point. Due to those double crits, we aren't, you know, taking on much else on this team, which is fine, because we really only need it for the Kartana, and that thing is down. So right here, I am just going to sack off my my Chestnut right here as it goes down to the Iron Head from the Cobalion, which is unfortunate, but I see this right here kind of as my opportunity to go into my my Scolipede, which is again super solid, because with this thing I can kind of go for game at this point, because I know this thing can't knock me out in any one hit. We are shown to be pretty defensive from the build we're getting, so I'm going to go for an Earthquake. Just to see if I can potentially bring this thing down pretty low. We saw how defensive he was, as he does live on like 1, which is actually totally fine. I would have preferred it to live opposed to die on this turn. As he goes for the Iron Head right here, and then he is going to get his lefties back up right here, as I get my first speed boost. In this next turn, I'm going to choose to go for a Protect. Other than knocking this thing out, I choose to go for the Protect because I want the +2 speed to pass into my my Landorus, because you know, just in case there's any Scarfers in the back, like if he's Scarf Manaphy or something like that, or Scarf Tyrantrum or something, I want to guaranteed, well, I guess we would have speed to Scarf Tyrantrum, but I want to guarantee, you know, just put this game out of reach and make sure we're super fast at that point. So I am going to go for the Baton Pass right here, into my Landorus, as I expect him to just go for another Iron Head, trying to sack this thing off as we go into our Landorus, and this is the scenario in which we envisioned, to where we could get +2/+2 and essentially win the game from here, which would be, you know, obviously really nice. As he throws off this Iron Head, and at -1 it does absolutely nothing. So right here we are out of range of a Hidden Power Ice. If he is, you know, mixed and does have that, we do have our Yachi Berry to pictures of that. So I'm just going to set up a Sword Stance right here, and we're going to get up to +2/+2. And this game is looking very nice for us from this point, as he goes for just another Iron Head, showing that he doesn't really have anything else to hit me. So this is kind of where I mess up, because I saw that he went for the Iron Head, and in my head I'm like, oh wow, he doesn't have anything to hit me. I'm getting +4, and I'm gonna seal this game, just in case he is like Shuka in the back on the Incineroar. He potentially will live on +1, as it reveals the Magnet Rise, and I figured he'd go for that the first turn. So him going for that right here definitely threw me for a bit of a loop, because he is actually out of range of a +4 Stone Edge right here, as you're going to see, just with how bulky Cobalion is. It does live that right here, as he can get off the Toxic, which is again super unfortunate. We honestly just won the game at this point if we just would have went for the +2. the +2 Earthquake, we probably could have just won the game, because we could have honestly just set up another Sword Dance on the Incineroar, because it didn't really have anything to Oko us from the range we were at. As right here, I'm going to go for another Stone Edge to knock him out, I end up missing, actually, which is unfortunate, because he's potentially out of range of another Stone Edge right here, which is, again, super, super unfortunate. But he does misclick, actually, and go for the Stealth Rock, so he doesn't get any more damage off on us. And we actually do end up critting him with the Stone Edge right here, so I guess it made up for that miss right there, but we do end up taking extra Toxic Chip, which does suck, giving us only one more turn left on our Landers. But we can pretty much claim one more kill, as he goes into the Incineroar right here, takes a little bit of Spike Chip, and gets the Intimidate off, but we're still +3, so something is going to die right here. But the play I expect him to make, I expect him to pivot out into his Pidgeot, expecting me to Earthquake, and, you know, avoiding that and me dying to the Toxic. So I am going to go for the Stone Edge right here, as we do get the play right, and we do knock out the Pidgeot. So while we weren't able to just straight up sweep with our Landorus, we were able to take out a good majority of his team with it, which is, you know, unfortunate. I definitely did overplay a little bit there and kind of got a little bit too greedy, which ended up costing us our Landorus. As right here, he goes into his Incineroar. As I'm going to go into my Scolipede, because it matches up pretty well against pretty much everything that comes in, as he gets hit with another Spike, and, you know, intimidates us. Right here, I am going to go for the Grounding Z Earthquake, because if he's not Sugar Berry, we actually pretty much always knock him out from the range that he's at, after 2 spikes, even if he's, like, super, super defensive at the -1. And if we can do that, that's obviously great. And there's no reason for me to switch out at this point, because I don't have removal left, and, well, I do have on my Starmie, but I don't expect myself clicking it at this point in the game. So we are going to get off a Tectonic Rage against this Incineroar, as he does reveal that he is, in fact, Sugar Berry. Which is unfortunate, because that means this does absolutely nothing. And he is going to be able to just throw off the knockoff and knock out our Scolipede right here. So down goes Scoly, unfortunately. But we did weaken this thing down pretty low, as we can kind of go into our Mega Glalie and we can click Earthquake on something and, you know, knock it out. As he does elect to save his Incineroar right here, and he goes into his Manaphy. And this should still do a pretty decent chunk to this thing, as we do throw off our Mega right here, and I'm going to throw off the Earthquake. But as you're going to see in a second, this Earthquake really doesn't do all too much, kind of showing me that he's a very, very fat Manaphy, which is terrifying, because with what's left on my team, I don't have much for a fat Manaphy. I don't really break through it with anything on my team, pretty much at all. Like, he's almost maxable, you know, based on that Earthquake damage. So I am going to switch out. I don't want to, you know, be set up for this thing. I'm going to go straight into my floor, just as I can still potentially live a +3 hit from this thing. As right here, he's going to go for this Scald, just fishing for the burn, obviously, because, you know, obviously the best play, because, you know, Glalie is a pretty big threat versus him, as he gets a little bit more lefty chip right here. And right here, I'm going to go for the Toxic, knowing that he is a fat Manaphy, but he reveals the Substitute, which is not good, because you know, if we would have just went straight up for the attack and Moonblast, we would have been in a lot better of a position, in all honesty. But unfortunately, he is going to be able to start just setting up Calm Minds on us. And this game gets pretty long at this point. I'm going to be honest, there's not much I can do to beat this thing, in all honesty. So I'm going to see if there's any way for me to speed this up. Yeah, we're gonna speed this up right here, just because it's a matter of him just clicking Calm Mind as I just go for the Moonblast, trying to potentially break these subs and hopefully get into a point where I can, you know, get in my Starmie, because if he's not super physically defensive, oh man, if he's not super physically defensive, like he's just max HP, we always break his sub with a Psyshock, and we can potentially wear him down like that and still win with our, we can still potentially win with our Glalie in the back if we can chip this thing down low enough, and you know, we can just Earthquake and Frustration through the rest of his team, which is great. So I am going to just Side Shock right here, as we see that he is very physically defensive, because we don't get off the 25% necessary to break his sub, which is unfortunate, because he's just going to keep throwing up Calm Minds like it's nothing, and you know, things are just going to kind of go downhill from here. As we can kind of keep throwing out Side Shocks, we will always guarantee to break it after 2. Because Calm Minds obviously don't matter due to us being, due to it hitting on the physically defensive side. So if he was more just like max HP with a lot of speed, we would be completely fine. But unfortunately, yeah, this is pretty rough. Right here, he's going to go for the Scald, and he gets the burn right away, which is unfortunate because if he didn't, we could potentially keep recovering up and, you know, keep this thing down pretty low and potentially beat it 1v1. But I'm just going to go for another Psyshock right here, trying to prevent him from, you know, just keep... Yeah, there you go. There, he gets up another sub right there. I wanted to potentially hope he would knock me out on that next turn as we can kind of go into our Glalie and hope for the best. As I go for another Psyshock right here, as he does go for another Scald, and he doesn't knock us out right here, and due to our leftovers, we are able to live the burn as we get up pretty, you know, get up a little bit higher and stuff like that. But, and we're able to, you know, break the sub right here with a Psyshock. But unfortunately, he was at just enough health to get the substitute back up, which again, really, really sucks because we could have potentially, you know, potentially came in and revenged him with our Glalie at that point, which again is super, super unfortunate, but what are you going to do in all honesty? So he is able to knock out our Starmie finally with the Scald, kind of ending that long, long process right there. And things are looking pretty rough for us at this point. As we go into our Florges right here, as we weren't able to break this up before, and I was hoping I could maybe live this Scald, but unfortunately we weren't able to, as I could have potentially broken the Moonblast with that, broken the sub with that Moonblast since it was pretty weak and due to the Psyshock, but unfortunately we weren't able to, and I can go into my Glalie right here, and I'm just going to throw off the Earthquake. I am going to be able to break the sub from this range, but I'm definitely not going to be able to live a Scald. So down goes our Glalie, and we are unfortunately going to drop this game 3-0 to Itz and his Sacramento Nidokings. So like I said, this loss is definitely on me. I definitely could have played that game much, much better, especially with how greedy I got with my landers. I honestly won that game mid-game. I kind of just swept him. I believe it was 4-0 or 5-0 and won with Lando at that point. Especially because after the game I was talking to him, and his only way of, you know, potentially beating me with the what he had in the back was going to be going to Incineroar, which he said he had HP Ice on, but we had our Yachi Stone attack, so he could have definitely lived that and then just gotten up another Swords Dance, and then he wouldn't have really been able to pivot around anymore, unfortunately. So unfortunately that's just how it goes. We end up dropping this game 3-0. GG's to Itz. He definitely played well. That Manaphy set was really, really good for me. I definitely under-prepped for Fat Manaphy, that's for sure. So unfortunately, we do lose that game. But hopefully next week we can bounce back. I believe we play MidPokeMaster and his Kentucky Torracats next week. So if we can still potentially make playoffs this season if we do win out. We do have a good hard couple of 3 games coming up, but I believe we can do it. If we can sneak into the playoffs with like the 7th or 8th seed. That'd be awesome. Regardless, we'll give our best. We'll give our all doing it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later.